Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with week 4 in the Banlist Battlers League, the BBL, taking on my buddy Shuckle King. Very excited for this matchup. If you guys did not catch last week's spoilers, in 3, 2, 1, we're on the board. Feels good. And we've got our work cut out for us, as we do every week, and I am very excited to be bringing you today's video because we also have some free agency transactions to talk about that I hinted to at the end of last week's video, so there will be some text floating somewhere on screen in post-production if you want to skip the free agency transactions and just watch the team builder. You might be like confused if you don't watch the free agency stuff because you're gonna be like, what, this wasn't on your team. So watch that, but if you want to skip the whole thing, there will be some more text floating somewhere on screen in post-production if you just want to hop right on ahead to the battle. As always, watching the pre-game information helps the viewer understand a little bit more behind my thought process going into it, because I probably explained something, or if I don't go over something that bites me in the butt, you understand that it was not on my radar of things to look about. Capiche? Caposh. Anyways, let's talk about some free agency transactions. So ending out last week, we had a very, very solid performance. I had said near the end of the battle last week that I was looking to kind of mix up the team a little bit, and there were some Pokemon that I didn't feel were doing too well for me. Those two being Clefable and Manaphy. As we saw last week, Clefable did numbers, picked up 4 kills, just absolutely untouchable, was fantastic. And unfortunately, Manaphy did not live up to what I wanted it to, and it ended up getting dropped. So what exactly did we drop from our roster, and then what did we pick up? So we ended up dropping a total of 4 Pokemon. We dropped Manaphy, Bramblegast, Dipplin, and Jumpluff. I know Dipplin was a fan favorite. I was thinking about bringing Jumpluff this last week, but I was talked out of it with some more valid team building processes. And in return, we ended up picking up 2 Pokemon. We actually have 1 free point left over, so like Jumpluff was just kind of tossed to the wind. I may use that 1 point somewhere. This is the week 4 into week 5 is the cutoff for free agency transactions. So, and I've got 3 left. I don't really see, like, there's some mons that I want, but I can't really work it around. So if I do, you'll see a little bit of a longer video next week talking about the free agency transactions, what we did, why we did it. But at the very end, there may be a new 1 point member on the team because we have that left over, and why not just have it just to give somebody else something to prep for? So we ended up picking up 2 different Pokemon, one of which is coming to play this week. The first Pokemon that we ended up picking up is Toki the Corviknight. Now, Corviknight is a homie. Corviknight is the mascot pick. Corviknight is also something that I'm pretty comfortable with historically. So let's talk about it. So it is a Steel Flying type Pokemon. Very good bulk overall, 98 HP, 87 attack, 105 defense, 85 special defense. Not too fast, 67. Could like speed creep over some really slow mons and shut them down with like taunt and things like that. Special attack is you don't do anything with special attack. It does have access to a few different setup options with things like Bulk Up and Curse, Hone Claws, Iron Defense, Body Press. It is a form of hazard removal with Defog. Can set Tailwinds like we talked about, can taunt, can pivot out. Very strong Brave Birds, 120 base power. You know, is it the biggest attack stat? No, but on a really passive Pokemon that may show up some weeks, 120 base power move, then amplified by Stab is very, very nice. So very excited to have this Pokemon. I think it helps out with the fairy weaknesses that we do have prior to some Terras. It helps out with the ground weakness that was pretty prevalent. We no longer have a resist. Now we have an immunity, which is fantastic. And then the other Pokemon that we picked up in this free agency transaction, we dropped Manaphy. Wanted something to help out a little bit of like some ice checks and things along those lines, so it's not just on Chiyu's back to just run with that. Ended up picking up Suicune. Again, another Pokemon that I am familiar with, I am comfortable with. Very, very, very just strong Pokemon overall, in my opinion. Let's talk about Suicune and what it is across the board. So 580 base stat total, insane bulk, 100 HP, 115 defense, 115 special defense. It's got that pressure ability that we know and love. Has access to setup with Calm Mind, has some really nice options with special attacking coverage, Scald, that's it. Scald, Extrasensory, Air Slash, things along those lines. It can roar. It's for phasing. It can set up its own Tailwind as well, which is really nice. It can boost its speed with Trailblaze, which is pretty cool. Has access to things like Mirror Coat as well for any Assault Vest sets. Very, very reliable, bulky water, in my opinion. Just cuts out a little bit more thought process than like Manaphy had, because Manaphy was like, do I want to run defensive, or the tail glow options just staring at me in the face, like, what do I want to do here? So Suicune, very, very bulky. As you guys know, I'm very comfortable with bulkier Pokemon and feel comfortable in bringing those Pokemon and using them to the full potential. So those are the 2 free agency transactions we made. Only one of them is coming to play this week, which you guys will see. But I think we do have the 6. Shuckle's team is gross. It is so good. You can literally just bring the top 6 every week and then plug and play like his bottom 3. He only has 9 Pokemon, the minimum you could draft, which is totally fine. Again, his top 6 are like, you don't need anything else. Like, you draft the other ones just to have maybe something to plug and play. But that's my thoughts on the team, and we'll see exactly what he brings. So appreciate you guys for watching. You guys are going to start to see some teams appear on screen right about now. My opponent has a team that consists of Zacian, Iron Treads, Ogerpon Wellspring, Latios, Darkrai, Deoxys Defense, Pecharunt, Hariyama, and Quilladin. My opponent's only Terra option is Ogerpon, and it, of course, can only Terastallize into a Water type, so that is some fun information we have ahead of time. Like I said before, I like Zacian, Iron Treads, Ogerpon, Latios, Darkrai, Deoxys Defense. I think, though, like I said, the top 6 are what I think are coming to play. I don't think Pecharunt shows up. I have a crazy, like, offense, like, psychic type offense, so I don't think that shows up. Same case for Hariyama. Like, I have a lot of super effective pressure on there. You could tell me Quilladin was coming to play, and I might believe you, because, like, after Ogerpon Terastallizes, there's not really, like, you know, Latios has its Levitate ability, but, like, after Latios goes down, or if Latios doesn't show up, there is no ground check across the board, right? Ogerpon can hold Terra to resist that, but you probably want to Terra Ogerpon first to get that special defense boost from its Embody aspect. So just kind of some thoughts on that. But like I said, Zacian, Iron Treads, Ogerpon, Latios, Deoxys, and Deoxys. Yeah, Deoxys Defense and Darkrai. Those are the 6 that I think are going to be there. I very reminds me of the Pokemon trainer from the Gen 4 anime that had the Latios and the Darkrai. I'm like, what are we doing here? I mean, very, very solid team. I feel comfortable into a lot of them. Obviously, his Uber, like, it's an Uber's league, so the Uber is the one that has me the most scared in Zacian. Like, I personally don't have a check. Like, I don't have an answer to it, which is a little unfortunate. Even like my most max resist, like, it's got just enough coverage to make it, like, very troublesome, in my opinion. So enough about that. Like I said, there's my predictions for the 6. If Hariyama or Pecharunt show up, I'd be shocked. Quilladin, okay, like I said, I see it. I don't see Pecharunt or Hariyama showing up, so Quilladin maybe, but other than that, it's the top 6. Let's go ahead and start talking about the team, what we are bringing and why we are bringing it. First Pokemon we're bringing up, Pokemon has a lot of potential, and no, it is not another weakness policy set that I am pilling you all into thinking that I know how to run. It is a Double Dance set, and I think we have the right pieces to help this get there. And even in the worst case scenario, if we cannot get our Double Dance up, puts on a lot of pressure to Shuckle's team. First Pokemon we are bringing is Tien the Metagross. He is rocking his Citrus Berry with the Clear Body ability to prevent any sort of stat drops. We have Heavy Slam, Earthquake, Hone Claws, and Agility, 128 EVs in HP, 152 in attack, 48 in special defense, 180 in speed with an Adamant Nature. What does this do for us? So first off, let's talk about the speed area right here. 180 in speed after an agility puts us at 442 speed. Deoxys naturally on our team outspeeds the entirety of Shuckle's team. So if he were to run a Scarfer, it'd likely go like a point or two above based on the math. This, after an agility, will go above not just Deoxys and everything on Shuckle's team, but anything that might be creeping Deoxys by a point or two. If he's going past Deoxys by like 10 points, he got me. Like, great prep. Like, that's just the game at that point. But other than that, after an agility, like, we're outspeeding a lot of those Scarfers that could outpace Deoxys. With this, so one thing that I looked at when I was looking at Shuckle's team was that steel coverage, like, is oddly, like, unresisted in my opinion. Let me pull up like the actual list here, but like Metagross just went in, just absolutely went in. Like, Deoxys defense could take a hit, but other than that, I mean, the steel resists are Ogerpon, Wellspring, and Iron Treads, right? So Ogre Pound Wellspring, even still like resisting Heavy Slam and prior to Terror resisting the Earthquake, still isn't like the most physically defensive Pokemon. Like, it's got 84 defense, 80 HP. Like, it's okay, but he's probably pumping a lot into attack, probably like HP and speed if he doesn't do full on attack and speed. But you'd want that like Jolly nature specifically to make sure you're outspeeding things like Garchomp. Like, you can't go Jolly, you can't go Adamant and not outspeed Garchomp. So he's got to be a lot of speed, like could be some minimum bulk like a Swords Dance set, but either way, not like the most physically defensive to take those. And then Iron Treads doesn't want the Heavy Slam, which is why we're bringing Earthquake just to help kind of piece that together. Earthquake also does end up hitting the Pecharunt for a bit more damage. But across the board, like I said, if we can get the agility off, we're in a great spot. We've got the Citrus Berry there to hopefully give us back a little bit more HP during that setup exchange. Neutral Heavy Slam does OHKO Zacian from full. It does have the chance to do a lot of damage back to us with like Banded Crunch or like even a Neutral Crunch, things like that. He needs a lot of HP and defense investment in order to live that Heavy Slam from full. It was around like 160 in HP or like 136 in defense. 160 in HP or 136 in defense, not both. So if he does run like a max HP, max speed, SD set, whatever like that, cool. You obviously got me there. But that is where that is as far as the defense goes. We're able to hopefully get an agility off or live one hit if not banded. Go for the Heavy Slam to put that down. Earthquake doing a lot of damage, like I said, to something like the Iron Treads or the Pecharunt if they show up. We'd ideally want to get to +2 for Heavy Slam to like just straight up OHKO stuff like Quilladin and like Hariyama and stuff like that. Earthquake, like Pecharunt's naturally physically defensive, so we would want like a +2 Earthquake, preferably, to especially also avoid like a weakness policy proc and things like that. Does get, you know, the ghost moves that can hurt Metagross. So, but across the board, like, you know, we do handle some stuff. We obviously want to like step away from things like Darkrai and things like that. So from full, the 128 in HP and the 48 in special defense, we live a timid, non-boosted Dark Pulse from full. So like no Black Glasses, no Expert Belt, no Life Orb, nothing. Like 252 EVs, timid. We can live that Dark Pulse from full. +1 Heavy Slam will OHKO it. So if we do have just a Hone Claws up, we're at full, goes for a Dark Pulse into us. We live that from full every time. If he's modest, he has a chance to knock us out. But timid, you need, like I talked about before, you could get away with a modest Darkrai this week. It does outpace Garchomp, but I still think timid is going to be better in the long run, especially if it is like maybe a Scarf Darkrai or something like that. So that is going to be Metagross right there. I would love to get an agility up and some Hone Claws and just really start doing a lot of work. But obviously we need some support in order to do that. So what is our support going to look like this week? Next up, we're bringing Toki the Corviknight. He's rocking his Light Clay with the pressure ability. We are running dual screens with U-Turn and Brave Bird. We have 252 EVs in HP, 96 in defense, 160 in special defense with a careful nature. So what does this do for us? I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is just general bulk. The EV spread ended up giving us the same defense and special defense stat of 270. The nice 252 EVs in HP puts us at 400 HP. It fits some aesthetic. It looked nice. This is not calced for anything. So what does this do? We really do not want to take on a boosted Wild Charge from Zacian. If it is banded into something like Play Rough, sure, we can take that obviously because we've resisted naturally. But like Wild Charge in close combat will always hurt. An Adamant Wild Charge not banded can 2-hit KO us, so we got to be careful of that. Iron Treads we handle pretty nicely. You know, there's not too much Iron Treads wants to do to us. We can slow turnout on it. We can get some screens up as well. We're not doing the most in return, but Iron Treads, to my knowledge, does not have like the most setup opportunity. Like, I guess it could rapid spin until it's +6, and that's an issue, but that's really about it. We've got some other Pokemon that can handle that. You know, other than that, I mean, there's Ice Spinner's like a neutral coverage move it could go for. Ogre Pound Wellspring, if he does run it, we already talked about the contrast between like would he run Adamant or Jolly Ogre Pound Wellspring. I think Jolly is the play this week, but an Adamant Ivy Cudgel does have a chance to 2-hit KO Corviknight. If we can catch Ogre Pound on like a switch or he's trying to hold Terra, Brave Bird does a ton of damage. And after Terra, the Jolly Ivy Cudgel does 2-hit KO Corviknight. So just some stats to think about there. We do handle some of the interactions like Latios. We handle Latios every day. We're very bulky. Latios lost a lot of its coverage moves in order to hit Corviknight, which is, you know, chef's kiss. We want to be mindful of like trick sets, like trick specs, trick scarf, or something like that. That's just going to cripple Corviknight and put us not in the best position. So we want to kind of scout for those interactions and see how we go from there. Darkrai, again, if it's not a nasty plot set, you know, we are able to handle, you know, a good chunk from Darkrai, threaten it back with a slow U-turn or a Brave Bird to pick it off if it's at that situation. If it is nasty plot or if it is choice specs, we do want to be careful because one Dark Pulse roll not in our favor with a 30% chance to flinch all of a sudden puts us on the back foot with Corviknight. Deoxys defense can always get negative priority out on us. It can always out slow turn us. U-turn is going to always go first above the teleport that it can go for. So maybe better to get like some chip with Brave Bird on it. Maybe better to set up a screen in anticipation of the teleport. Things like that. Petrarunt we handle pretty nicely. You know, it's got just that insane natural defense. So we're not doing the most, but it's not doing too much to us. So we can likely get up a screen in front of it, U-turn out. And then Hariyama and Quilladin, if they do show up, we're handling those pretty well. So I'm not too concerned about that matchup there. Next up, we are bringing Boo the Clefable. Now, this set did so well for me last week, and seeing just the kind of special threats that Shuggle has, I was like, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So same set as last week. We are bringing the Leftovers Magic Guard, Moonblast, Knockoff, Wish, and Protect, max HP, max special defense, 4 in defense with a calm nature. What does this do for us? So we never won Zacian. We never ever want to switch this in on Zacian until we, like, even if it is not banded, we don't want that hit. We don't want that smoke. If he brings it in on us, depending on where we're at, what moves he has and information we can find out, we might knock off an item. Maybe we could get a wish off to pass into something, maybe, but we really want to avoid Zacian wherever we can. We don't want to take Iron Treads on if it's got steel coverage. I anticipate it to fully have like Steel Beam, Iron Head, something like that. If it doesn't, or if it is like choiced into a non-steel move, like we can take an Earthquake, okay? You know, get a Wish up, Protect, kind of knock off and do some stuff there. Maybe make him force some switches around. Latios handle pretty nicely again. Lost, you know, some coverage move on there. We want to be careful, obviously, of any trick sets that could cripple Clefable. Ogerpon, you know, Clefable's not the physically defensive set this week. It's especially defensive, so Ogerpon we're really not trying to mess around with too much. Darkrai, we want to be mindful. We want to respect Darkrai. It's fast, and it does get coverage and Sludge Bomb to handle us. Without boost at like 252 timid, no boosting items, we are 3-hit KO'd by Sludge Bomb. We've got the Magic Guard, obviously, to prevent any sort of poison damage. But if it is boosted, if it is, you know, modest, if it is specs, we start to fall into some sort of a 2-hit KO range, depending on where we're at on there. So we want to be respectful. We want to be mindful. Deoxys, we can always go for a knockoff on pretty safely. We can go for a Wish. It does get taunt, so it could shut us down in that regard, but it always is going to get that negative priority, so we might as well try to go for a knock or a Wish, expecting it to maybe kind of pivot out on us. Petrarunt, really want to avoid this. Just hard-hitting poison moves, even though we are max special defense. Really not trying to take a Malignant Chain. Hariyama, we're handling pretty well unless it like gets a belly drum up. Quilladin, same song and dance. It doesn't do, I don't know what Quilladin does other than eat an Earthquake, so it's not doing too much. So that is going to be Clefable. So we've got some Wish support in Metagross. We've got some screen support in Metagross. Metagross can set up and do a ton of damage across the board. How else can we continue to support it? So now let's talk about a little bit more of our backbone outside of this setup. Let's talk about some offense. Our dedicated lead this week is Frieza the Deoxys. He's holding his Focus Sash with the Pressure ability. We have Stealth Rock, Taunt, Superpower, and Psycho Boost. 4 EVs in HP, 252 in Special Attack, 252 in Speed with a Hasty Nature. This outspeeds the entirety of Shuggle's team, barring any Scarfers. I've thought about getting creative with like putting more in attack for Superpower, but if he is prepping his Scarfers, so Deoxys can be optimized to outspeed Zacian and give us some EVs back in speed, right? Zacian hits 412, we can get to 413. He can get a Scarfer or an agility user or whatever to get to 414 and then outspeed us. So by just running the max speed, we kind of omit that mind game, and any Pokemon that he is trying to optimize, like Scarf to out optimize and optimize Deoxys, will just be faster than naturally. So max, and then 4 in attack there for the Superpower. So dedicated lead works out really nicely. There's not too many Pokemon that don't get 2-hit KO'd by Deoxys, which is great. Zacian, from full no investment, we're always doing around 70 to 80 to that. If our Sash is busted, we always die in return, but we can 2-hit KO a Psycho Boost even after the drops, which is great. Same thing with Iron Treads. We can 2-hit KO with a superpower through Sash, which is great. Again, no investment. We're more than likely dying in return if it goes for an Earthquake, but if it's like an Ice Spinner, maybe. But really likely if our Sash is broken, we're not going there. Ogerpon Wellspring, if he does Terra, we have a very small chance to 2-hit KO with Psycho Boost. We're always dying in return. We do have a chance to OHKO from full without Terra with the Psycho Boost. Obviously, would prefer some sort of chip on there to guarantee those rolls a little bit more comfortably. We're not looking to handle too much with Latios. We're not trying to stay in around that. Darkrai, the superpower, can OHKO from full if it's not invested or not Choppleberry. We are more than likely, if our Sash is not intact, dying from a coverage move thereafter. Deoxys defense, we really can't handle too much offensively, so if it is a Deoxys versus Deoxys lead, we do have Taunt to be able to shut that down from going for any sort of hazards or anything like that. Get our own rocks up and then switch around from there. Pecharunt, it needs to be like very specially defensive with Pyapa Berry in order for Psycho Boost to not kill. He needs to have the Pyapa Berry in order for Psycho Boost to not kill. Otherwise, if he's max HP, max special defense, boosted nature, we always OHKO with Psycho Boost, which is great. Hariyama, again, Psycho Boost doing a great amount of damage. Quilladin, if it is Eviolite, like max HP, we can 2-hit KO with Psycho Boost. If he is max special defense for whatever reason, it would be a 3-hit KO, so we'd ideally want some sort of Rocks chip on there in order for that. That's going to be Deoxys. Very excited. This was originally like Stealth Rock Spikes. There was like Stealth Rock 3 attack. And I was just trying to think about like, how do I keep, like, I'm obviously not bringing Defog on Corviknight, and he has some very reliable hazard setters, Spikes on Deoxys, Ogerpon, and Quilladin, Rocks on Deoxys and Iron Treads. Like, he's got very reliable Pokemon that can always set up hazards on me. How can I shut that down to the best of my ability? And that is with Taunt. Very fast Taunt. The only mind game I can foresee is really like Iron Treads lead. I would probably want to superpower that first. Because if he rapid spins to break my Sash and then outspeeds me afterwards, I would probably prefer to superpower and then swap into something like, you know, one of our other Pokemon, potentially some that I have not yet discussed. But other than that, we identify the Pokemon that we're not trying to stay in and do too much of. We've got some very strong hard-hitting moves and some great natural offensive typing to be able to handle those and do some chunk chip damage to some resisted hits if we need to. But hey, either way, that is going to be our lead. That is some more support for there. Next up, we have some very strong hard-hitting physical support this week in Purunga the Garchomp. He is rocking his Choice Scarf with the Rough Skin ability. We have Earthquake, Outrage, Dragon Claw, and Iron Head. 252 EVs in attack, 4 in defense, 252 in speed with an Adamant nature. This is getting us to a very similar spot of max speed Adamant puts us above Scarfers that would speed creep a normal Deoxys. If he does run like Scarf Lottie max speed to outpace us, which is a possibility, great, you got me. Like Scarf Darkrai above there, like a max speed, cool. Again, you got me. But outside of those Pokemon, this is outspeeding the entirety of the team, being able to do a lot of good damage here. We're 2-hit KOing Zacian with Iron Head, which is great. It was a toss-up between like Iron Head and Poison Jab being able to hit like the Ogerpon as well. I went with Iron Head for that 30% flinch chance just to, you know, get that. If we are, you know, if he's bringing Darkrai with Dark Pulse, I'm bringing Garchomp with Iron Head. Iron Treads we can knock out from full with Earthquake. We obviously want to pay attention for any sort of like booster energies. That pop hit speed above Garchomp, that's going to be like a big red flag of like swap to Corviknight really quickly. Ice Spinner can always knock us out depending on the build. Really want to watch out for that. Ogerpon Outrage has a very strong chance to OHKO it with some Rocks chips, so we want to get just a little bit of damage off before this starts becoming an endgame sweep. We are 2-hit KO'd in return by things like Ivy Cudgel or Play Rough if he is bringing that coverage. We want to scout for any Scarfs on Lottie. Our Outrage and our Dragon Claw are always OHKOing a standard Latios set, which is great. Darkrai Outrage has a very strong chance to OHKO it after Rocks. We do want some chip if we're going locked into EQ. We can never knock it out from full with EQ. We want Rocks and like a little bit more. Maybe some Life Orb chip. Maybe. I don't know. Ice Beam will always knock us out in return. Deoxys defense, Outrage is 3-hit KO. It does have Recover, I believe. So that's going to be just a hard one to just break through if we need to. Pecharunt, Earthquake 2-hit KOs. I would love to get it a little bit weakened so that way we're not popping any sort of a weakness policy on there. Hariyama, we're able to 2-hit KO. Quilladin, we want Outrage. We want to be locked in Outrage there because, like I said before, and I've been preaching, it's one of the only mons I anticipate to stay around long enough to resist an Earthquake if it does show up. So that is going to be Garchomp. Last but not least, we are bringing our Terra captain, Goku the Iron Hands. Really putting in a lot of work. Really excited to use this Pokemon. I'm very excited just overall to continue to have this Pokemon. I think it's really, really nice. He is rocking his Assault Vest with the Quark Drive ability. We are running Terra Blast, Heavy Slam, Drain Punch, and Volt Switch. Terra Bug. We have 184 EVs in attack, 116 in defense, 208 in special defense with an adamant nature. What does this do for us? So, I was looking at the team. Originally, this was Terra Ghost, and the Terra Blast Ghost was doing, you know, good damage really across the board. One resist and Darkrai. Other than that, like neutral or super effective damage. And we have the Drain Punch for Darkrai. So it was like, okay, made sense. Helped us spin block from the Iron Treads if we get our rocks up. This is back during a build of the team where it was like the rock spike, like hyper lead, just stack them and try to keep them up set. But the more I looked at it, I was like, you know, like I would really prefer just a little bit more defensive typing into his team. What type of coverage can I go for that just unanimously across the board can do more damage? And just looking overall, the answer is Bug. You know, we've got some nice resistances, which is great. Naturally, Bug is an awkwardly good defensive typing, depending, like, if you have the right Bug. Terra Blast, Bug doing super effective damage against a lot. Darkrai, Ogerpon before Terra, Latios, Deoxys Defense, and Quilladin. Heavy Slam is great. It was a toss-up originally between Heavy Slam and Hard Press. Hard Press is doing more damage the more HP my opponent has. It was doing like 60 to 70 to Zacian, and once it got down there, it started to be a roll of like if it was a 2-hit KO. Heavy Slam is always like 50 to 60, just naturally no bulk. So Heavy Slam's a bit more consistent in that regard. So went Heavy Slam. Like I talked about with Metagross, Heavy Slam across the board just does really, really well, I feel like. Drain Punch, always nice for the recovery. Always good to get some chip on things like Darkrai and things like Iron Treads, things along those lines. Volt Switch, we're very slow, base 50 speed, being able to pivot us around into some other Pokemon. There really is no option. There have been a few matches this week where I've tried to identify where to hold Terra. If I do need it, Iron Hands really never wants to not Terra in this matchup. Terra Bug does give it a lot of the, you know, if he does get rocks up, little unfortunate. We are then weak to rocks. So we want to try to pressure as much as we can not for that to happen. And if it does, unfortunately. But that is really the only downside in my opinion. It doesn't have a natural fire type. Does not have a natural flying type on there. Could get rocks up, but I don't think like rock coverage is the move any of his Pokemon would run. So just thinking overall, I think defensively and offensively through Terra Blast, that's going to help us out just a little bit more. Like I said, we're doing a lot of like 2-hit KOs across the board just with our natural bulk. Zacian is 2-hit KO'd from Heavy Slam. We are 3-hit KO'd after Terra if we are not banded. So from like a band, if he's not banded, if he's adamant, very small chance to 2-hit KO us. Iron Treads after Terra, we handle that very, very well, and Drain Punch is 2-hit KOing like your standard offensive build. Ogerpon Wellspring, we want to Terra, so the like grass moves don't do as much. But like I don't see a reason for us not to Terra. So I was just kind of running calcs to see what we could do, and this fell in the category of like could handle outside of Terra. Terra Blast, if he does like switch in on this for whatever reason, Terra Blast Bug does OHKO it before Terra. And then either Terra Blast Bug or Drain Punch 2-hit KO it after the Terra. Latios, we never want to take a Draco. Nobody really does. But Terra Blast always knocks out like a standard offensive Lati set. Darkrai handling very, very nicely there. Terra Blast or Drain Punch doing a ton of damage. Deoxys Defense, Terra Blast 2-hit KOing like a standard max set, which is great. Pecharunt, like there's a weird like Heavy Slam, if he's max HP, can like 4-hit KO. We can always slowly pivot out on it, but that was the one toss-up between like Terra Blast Bug and Terra Blast Ghost of like, that's where we're losing our coverage on. Like we could bring Earthquake, but again, it's so physically defensive that's going to be hard to break from that end. So want to chip it down. I could see it coming for that reason, but again, we've got things like Deoxys. We have Indeedee, which is on the bench that we're not bringing to hopefully mitigate that. So fingers crossed on that one. Hariyama, we're handling, and then Quilladin, again, we're handling from there. So that is going to be the team. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys at the battle. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with BBL Week 4. Going against my buddy Shuggle King. Very excited for this matchup. You guys can see the 6 that I have on screen. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys at team preview. All right, so he does bring the Pecharunt, actually. No Latios. Okay, so other than that, we got everything right. I'm mildly surprised to see the Pecharunt, but it made sense going down the calcs. So Ogerpon Wellspring, He told me that he was Terra Water Ogre Pond, so I don't really know what to do with that information there. But other than that, like I said, we've got the gist of the team here. Curious to see what the Petra run does here. We are always leading off with our Focus Sash Deoxys. We are faster than everything on his side of the field. No Lottie. I guess in the grand scheme of things, looking at it, like Lottie was handled by a lot on my team. And like Petra run defensively made sense, especially if it is going to be like a weakness policy set. So either way, I think it was a, now that I think that one through a little bit more, like I get it. Do I like it? Maybe not so much, but would I have preferred Latios? Absolutely. But Latios, dope mon. I've used Latios a lot in Draft League. So the Deox defense obviously showing up. That was a big one. You bring your Uber to an Uber's League. You bring your Terra Captain to Terra League. Darkrai, you bring your Dark type to a Psy Spam team. So very, very looking forward to this. Very excited to see what he's got. We've had the chance to play quite a few times though over the last few leagues. So always looking to have just another good matchup against my bud. So let's see what he is wanting to lead off with here. Hey, you. This is the guy you were just watching, here to let you know that this video is sponsored by Factor. Factor offers delicious, ready-to-eat meals that are fresh, never frozen, and each meal is chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. You've got a wide variety of options each week, including Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or vegan and veggie menus. You can discover more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, snacks, and beverages to help you stay fueled and feel good all day long. You can get 50% and free shipping on your first Factor box by clicking the link in the description, using the promo code, or scanning the QR code that's on screen. Factor's been a great option for my family and I hope it is for yours too. Now, back to the video. Leads off with Ogre Pond. Okay. Okay, that is more or less fine with me. So what do I value here? Do I value rocks? Do I value just a big rip on Psycho Boost off rip? Because after he Terras, depending on the spread, we're doing a lot. So I'm gonna go for the Psycho Boost right out the gate. If we can get his Terra Captain out, one that's the only Pokemon, especially after a Terras, that does resist Earthquake from Garchomp in the end game. So if he doesn't hold Terra, we have the chance to just knock it out right off rip. So let's see exactly what he wants to do here. He is going to pop his Terra. Terra Water. Something I never would have thought in 1,000 years. So he'll get his Spadef boost here. So doing about 58 to 68 with that Embody Aspect boost. A little bulky. Goes for the U-turn. Okay. That's fine by me. It's going to bring us down to rocks, and we have it at around like 55%. Okay. As far as like priority, so I think if something comes in here, it is the, it is going to have, it is either going to be Scarfed or it's going to have priority. We don't see Hariyama's Deoxys defense having extreme speed. Like Darkrai could have Sucker Punch. Or it's like Scarf Darkrai. We're obviously at -2, -1. I think it's a -1 drop, just like Superpower. So let's see exactly what it wants to go out into. Goes down to Darkrai, the Pokemon fan. Okay. So he's pretty good to just attack me. I could keep this thing around and swap into Iron Hands. I could do that. Corviknight could also handle it pretty nicely and just U-turn out, which I think might be a little bit of a better play. So let's do that. Let's swap Corvi. Let's keep this thing around. He's going to want to prioritize rocks, so that way Deoxys can't come back in. So let's try to play around with that the best that we can here. Goes for the Ice Beam. Okay, that's pretty fair. Very neutral play. There's one. Ooh, okay. All right, that's fun. That is fun. That could be Scarf, quite honestly. Definitely timid damage range. So I think here, let's take a moment. If I were him, I would try to get rocks up right now, knowing that I'm frozen. I'm going to hard swap back into Deoxys here. Yep. Okay. Goes out into 6-foot Hex, which is the Pecharunt, actually. Okay. Did not want that. This is a pretty good opportunity to toss off a Psycho Boost. I could also superpower with the, like, the Iron Treads coming in. We could also confirm if Darkrai is Scarf by going for that. I'm just going to get up the rocks here. Yep, does want to withdraw. Okay. And goes into his own Deoxys. Okay, that's fine by me. So I'll get my rocks up. Let's try to taunt this thing and shut it down. If he attacks me, cool. We have gotten rocks up. We have taunted this thing to shut it down. You know, we'll be in an okay spot. Just goes for the Nightshade. Okay, that's totally fine. That is totally fine. Deoxys. Defense. KOs. Deoxys with Nightshade. Okay, that is totally fine by me. Corviknight being frozen really sucks. I want to go on the record and talk about that. I don't hate going into Iron Hands right now and getting our Terra off. I think it's a pretty okay play. We do have the rocks up, which is great. So I could just Terra Bug and just Terra Blast, just drop a Terra Blast. There's nothing that can really, like, knock me out from full. Goes back out into the Pecharunt. Okay, that's fine. We do get the rocks damage, which is always good. Max HP, this is doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Volt Switch would have been great. Yeah, nothing. So, I don't think it's doing too much back to me in return, so I'm just going to go for a Heavy Slam for a little bit of chip. We do need that chip for Garchomp to be able to come in and Earthquake it. Also, Metagross being able to do anything, we'd ideally want that as well. You know, like I said, I think we handle this pretty nicely. You know, if he's offensive, we'll find that out here. If he wants to swap, something's taking a very strong Heavy Slam. And I think that's kind of what you weigh out right now. Like, you're not doing too much to me. I'm getting enough chip off that even if you are like a nasty plot set at that end, you're not doing too much. So Malignant Chain comes off. Does do about 20%. So he's got some investment. Could very well be. Could very, very well be max special attack based on that roll. Like max special attack timid. So let me leave a note here. Max. Could be a modest roll, maybe? No. No, so he's timid. He's not modest. If he's modest, he's not max. Man. I need Corviknight. I'm swapping Corviknight to take the poison move. I need Corviknight to Thought. Okay, Malignant Chain and Recover. Okay. Maybe Hex. Maybe Hex. I'll try to Thaw and get a light screen off here. Nasty plot. Okay. Okay, a little unfortunate. His Hex might knock me out here. Very strong chance to knock me out here. I will try to get another light screen up, though. There's the Shadow Ball. Okay, Shadow Ball does not knock me out. Doesn't have Hex. Still frozen solid. Fantastic. Okay. Fantastic. I'm going to try to go for a light screen in case he gets greedy and goes for a nasty plot here, but he may just secure the KO right now. Like I said, a little unfortunate, but is what it is. We'll try our best to play around that. What is this? Petra Run, KOs, Corbinite with Shadow Ball. Okay. I don't think he's max HP. Earthquake does do quite a bit to Petra Run here. We have not seen the item, so I'm a little hesitant there. You know, we do have Metagross, which should hopefully be a little bit faster than this thing. Metagross is hitting 221. Petra Runt is, it'd have to be pretty max there. Let's go Garchomp. Let's go Garchomp. Could be weakness policy, could be the end of the beginning of the end here. But we live +2 Malignant Chain. Let me double check Shadow Ball because I'm calculating for Hex right here. Hex 64 to 71. So I got to toss off an Earthquake here and hope. Great damage. Great damage. There's Citrus Berry? Salic Berry. Okay. All right, so we're living that. So if you're... I actually still outspeed and knock you out here, I believe. Max speed Tibet +1 hits 453. I hit 454 because I'm max speed adamant. Ooh boy. Ooh boy. All right. Not the end. Not the end. You know? Not really where we want to be at, but not the end. Okay. That was scary. If that wasn't Salad Berry and that was weakness policy. No, if that was weakness policy, we still would have... No, if it was weakness policy, would have popped me right there. So, all right. We're still here a little bit. We got to pay attention. We got to play our outs and whatnot and see what we got. Here comes Tone, which is the Iron Treads. Booster speed. Booster speed. Okay. All right. Iron Hands handles this pretty nicely, I feel like. And if you are booster speed, you are not adamant. So we're able to do some pretty good damage overall, I'd say. Those are Earthquake. All right, that's fine. Not doing too much to me. Did 15%? Yeah, max attack Jolly there. Okay. I don't think you want to stay in. I think you'd maybe go out into Deoxys here. Which would outspeed me. Like, I could Volt Switch. Let me go for the Terra Blast. Let me play a little aggressively here. I feel like I've been playing a little safe. Goes on Deoxys. Deoxys is going to take the rocks. Yep. Great damage. Great damage. I will simply go for another one and see what he's got. Could go for just a Nightshade, you know? If Darkrai Scarf Clef can handle that. Zacian from neutral. Our Heavy Slam will hit that. We burned booster on treads, which is great, which means Garchomp is going to outspeed it. We've got about 40% on Ogerpon. So, like, there's some outs. There's some outs here. We need to play sharp. We need to play strong. And we can pull this off, in theory. Goes to the Nightshade. Okay, so we are going to be able to knock out Deoxys, which is great. That was a little problematic for Metagross. Iron Hands, KOs. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. What wants to come in now? What wants to come in? LeBron. Okay. I am sitting around. It does get the Intrepid Sword boost. All right. I am at 193. So I play rough. A play rough has a chance to play rough has a chance to knock me out, unfortunately. Which doesn't tell me much. I'm gonna try to go for a heavy slam here. Misses the play rough is huge. Okay. I'm gonna go for another one. There's the play rough. Does knock me out. Okay. Lucian KOs, Iron Hands. It's Life Orb. Okay. Good to know. Okay. Zestin KOs Iron Hands with play rough. Okay. He's still got the boost. So the question is 50%. I'm trying to see where Metagross is in relation. So, like, we could do some damage with Metagross at this point in the game. The Fable being able to handle that. I just need to see. Zacian, Life Orb. Crunch does not kill us from the Adamant Intrepid boost. If he's Adamant, it does have a chance. So I'm going to go out into here. And go for the agility. Garchomp revenges this. Earthquake picks up Treads. Earthquake picks up Zacian. Post-combat, actually. Okay. Brings me down to 115. 35%. All right. There's my citrus. Gonna put me at 59%, and I'm gonna get the agility off here. Perfect. All right. So now I will go for it. So from this range now, Crunch could knock me out if he has it. I feel like he would have went for it if he did have it. Let's just go for the heavy slam. I don't want to go for a home clause if he's got the crunch. Close combat's going to do a million to me. I will not live another one. Let's just go for that. Beautiful. All right. Darkrai probably comes in here now, right? Darkrai probably comes in to outspeed the absolute hell out of me, right? Cone is the Iron Treads. Okay. Earthquake, unfortunately, not doing as much as I wanted to. Which is a little unfortunate, but it does put us into a spot where Garchomp can clean this with Earthquake. Let's just go for it. Let's try it. Good damage. Knocks us back down. Return with Earthquake. Okay. Gonna be very close. Very, very close. We've got a full health Clefable. And we've got a Scarf Garchomp left. I don't think I ever lock into... I don't think I ever lock into Outrage here. So I just Earthquake and return. Choice Scarf Darkfire with Sludge Bomb, 3-hit KOs Clefable. So we just want to make sure that we like stay healthy enough to handle the Ogerpon. Withdraws. Goes out into Darkrai. I have a chance to knock you out with rocks. Ooh, I don't. Okay, so he's got some bulk to him. Okay. Let's swap Clefable. Little bulk. Because, oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Outrage. I wouldn't have been able to kill him there. Yep, always would have been a 2-hit KO after that. So that's funny. Outrage would have been the move there. That's funny. Outrage would have knocked out Treads, would have knocked out Darkrai. Okay. Okay. He doubles too. That I think that won him the game. I think I won him the game. Yeah, I think there's no move that he doesn't go for right here that, like, I live from Garchomp. I would need to be faster than his Scarf and get, like, full... Where am I even at? Where am I even at? I'm at 101. Yeah, I'm at 28%. I would need him to, like, rapid spin here to do that. So, I guess the question is, like... Moonblast does 20 to 23? Yeah, I think that won him the game. That won him the game 100%. Oh, Heavy Slam especially. Yep, okay. That won him the game right there. Great double. Okay. If he's not Super Scarf Darkrai, I will attempt to Outrage Sweep. With 3 turns of it. But other than that, I think that's all she wrote right there. That was a very... Calling that double, that was such a good 50-50. It was such a good call right there. Props to my man. Props to my man. Garchomp KOs. Treads with Outrage. Yep. I need him to be, like, not max speed on Darkrai at the end of the day. Oh, so close. So close to rocks, man. Don't be faster than Scarf Garchomp. There it is. All right. Darkrai KOs, Garchomp with Ice Beam. Damn! All right, that was such a good game, man. That was such a good game. I can't even be mad about that. That was one hell of a matchup. Garchomp putting the weight of the world on his shoulders. Iron Hand's doing great. Metagross come into play as well. Really think it was just a solid game, and Shuckle King deserved it all with that switch, man. That was legendary. That was so good. I cannot fault him for anything that happened in this matchup. That was such a good read. GG's to my man. Definitely go check out his channel. Link will be in the description down below. All that being said, I want to remind you guys to be great and do great, and I'll see you guys next week for game day. Later.